Today I am going to be sharing with you my favorite recipe for making cranberry lemon bread. This bread is so zesty, is so moist, so delicious that I am sure you are absolutely going to love it. So make sure to stick around and watch. Today I have my daughter in the kitchen with me helping make this delicious bread. And the very first thing we're going to start with is by juicing 1 lemon. Next, we are going to be adding in 1 stick of softened butter or half a cup of softened butter and 1 cup of sugar into the mixer, and then we're going to mix it together until it's well combined. To our mix, we're going to also be adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs, and some of the lemon juice. I am going to be taking apart 1 tablespoon of the lemon juice because I am going to be using that tablespoon later on at the very end to make the glaze. The rest of that lemon juice, we're just going to pour it in here as well. And finally, to our wet ingredients, we are going to be adding 1 cup of sour cream. Something that I've learned is that sour cream is like the best thing to bake with, especially when it comes to gluten-free baking, because it just adds so much moisture and richness to whatever it is that you're baking. So I am loving using sour cream in my breads. It is absolutely delicious. Then we are just going to mix all of our wet ingredients together until they are well combined. Then it's time to add in our dry ingredients. I am going to be adding 2 cups of gluten-free flour. I love using Bob Mills 1-to-1 flour. I feel like that one is the best. 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then we are once again going to mix all of the ingredients together until they are well combined for about a minute or 2. You will be able to see when everything is well incorporated. Once that is done, with my spatula, I am going to go ahead and place my mix in a loaf pan that is greased. I personally just use cooking spray on the loaf pan just to make it non-stick, and I place everything in there. Before I started doing everything, I forgot to mention that my oven had been preheating at 350 degrees. Once our mix is in our loaf pan, we like to add in our cranberries last. I feel like this just, with gluten-free, it feels like all the cranberries always migrate to the bottom. So I was just trying this technique today to see if I could just make that process slower instead of mixing it in the mix. They still manage to make their way to the bottom of the loaf, but I feel like this way it's more evenly distributed. Now we're going to place our bread in the oven at 350 degrees, and we are going to let it bake for 50 minutes. All right, so our bread has already been cooling for about 10 minutes, and now I just want to remove it from here. If you don't want to remove it from here, you can just leave it cooling off in there. But I like to remove it from my container and put it on a cooling rack to just let it cool evenly and dry it out a little bit. All right. All right, so our bread is nice and cool now, so we are going to be making a glaze for it, and this is going to be super simple. I'm using parchment paper underneath the bread because I'm going to be putting the glaze over it, and I don't want my counter to get too dirty, so it just makes it for quick and easy cleanup. So here I have about a cup of powdered sugar. I'm going to go ahead and add my tablespoon of lemon juice in there. That's going to give it a nice zesty flavor. If you want to use lemon zest and add it on there, you can do that as well. And then I'm going to be adding about a teaspoon or so of coconut milk. I'm gonna mix it and see if I need another teaspoon. But with a fork, I'm just moving it around and creating this glaze that's going to go on it. You see how it starts making a nice paste. I don't want it to be too runny. Eventually it gets a little crunchy on the top after it cools off, and I love that. Let me see. I'm gonna add 1 more teaspoon of the coconut milk. I love using coconut milk. It's so yummy and tropical. But you are welcome to use whatever milk you'd like. See how yummy and creamy that's looking? That's a yummy glaze. And if you taste it, it has a nice little zest to it from the lemon. It is so good. You can drizzle it on top with a spoon or a spatula. I'm just gonna use the fork that I have here. And I'm gonna come and just drizzle it all throughout my bread. And it looks so yummy. I like to wait till the bread is nice and cool, because if not, the glaze just melts right off. Oh, but look how delicious it's already looking, guys. And how it just glazes on the side. And then I have some more left over. If you want to add more, like when you serve it, you can do that. Or if you want to pour the whole thing on it, you can do that as well. This recipe is also perfect to make during the holiday season, especially if you are hosting for breakfast. You can serve this as a loaf, or you can also make them as muffins, and it just serves as something that is light and refreshing and really satisfying for everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you're looking for another delicious gluten-free recipe, go ahead and check out this video.